Hey, this is Alta Sierra Math 7, a little extra practice here on Lesson 7 factoring practice. And so we want to practice some factoring expressions and equations, and just say check your solution here. So first of all, I need to look and see what can I take out of the whole thing. In a couple ways this may have been shown. You might have seen the upside down birthday cake method a little bit today, where you say, well, what can I take out of both of these here? And if you take a 6 out of both of these here, if you take a 6 out of there, what you're left with is A. And you take a 6 out of there, what you're left with is 1. And so that becomes your what's in parentheses. And this moves down here. So you end up with 6 times a plus 1 as a solution for number 1. The next one, it's good to recognize, okay, what kind of math facts do you have there? They're both not even, so I'm looking at something different, not an even number. But I know 22, 33 reminds me a lot, so I kind of think about, what am I thinking about here? In my head, I'm thinking 11 maybe is an idea. And I go, yeah, that could work. If I factor an 11 out of both sides, 11 times what can get you to 22? Well, 11 times 2 is 22. All right, then I look here. How do I get to 33? 11 times 3 gets you to 33, and we'll keep the y there. Now, because I want to be a minus 33, I'll make this a subtraction. So I have 11 times 2 minus 3y. In this next one here, if we use the birthday cake method here, right? If I go out, let's see. I might recognize that there's an even number. Maybe I just take a 2 out, okay? If I take a 2 out of there, I'm still left with a negative 4w, and 24 divided by 2 is 12. But if I look there, I can still take a 2 out, can't I? So let's take another 2 out, it's still even. So how many 2's are in negative 4? Well, there's at least 2 in there. And how many 2's are in 12? At least 6. Wow, look at all these 2's. I could probably take another 2 out, couldn't I? If I take another 2 out, how many are left? Well, I'm left with negative 1w. How many 2's are in 6? There are 3. So now, what I have left is I have a negative w plus 3. This part right here is my parentheses. Then I multiply those together. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. And so I get 8 times negative w plus 3. And if I was to check with distributing, 8 times negative w is negative 8w, and 8 times 3 is 24. So that works out just fine. Sometimes, though, you can see right away what you can factor out. And in this case here, I have a 5 and a 10, and recognize that 5 is a part of both of those. So how many 5's are in 5a? Just 1, so I just write down a. And how many 5's are in 10? There are 2, so I write down 2. All right. So let's look at some other ones here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at some odd ones here to wrap you up here. So when I look at 16, okay, I might recognize that maybe I recognize that 8 goes into both of those, right? How many 8's are in 16? 2. How many 8's are in 24? There are going to be 3. Okay, so we have 3, and I want it minus. So this becomes simply 8 times 2n minus 3. Now again, this is one you might not have recognized as being 8 right away. You might have done it this way and said, well, let's take a 2 out of each one. That leaves you with 8n minus 12. Then you could have taken a 2 out of there. That leaves you with 4n minus 6. And again, you could take a 2 out of that, and that leaves you with 2n minus 3. You multiply those together, and what are you left with? 8 on this side times 2n minus 3. So both methods work just fine. In number 8, we notice that we have an 8 and an 11, and I don't know any factor for 8 and 11. So I'm not going to take a number out, but I can certainly take an x out of both of them. So we'll take an x out of one side, and then we'll take over here, what's left is 8y, and what's left over here is 11. So I have x times 8 minus 11, like that. Alright, there, I think we're good. Alright, moving down. This is a great one because we have negative numbers. So I could either factor out a negative number, or I could leave it like it is. Let's go ahead and factor out, first of all, a 2 because they're even. So what's left, what's half of negative 10 would be negative 5w, and what's half of negative 6 would be a 3. So I can't factor that out anymore. It's going to stay negative 5, negative 3. So I know I'm going to have 2 times negative 5w minus 3. But I could also have something else. If I wanted to, I could take out a negative 2. If I take out a negative 2, what I'm left with then is 5w plus 3. So that would look like negative 2 times 5w plus 3. Both of these would actually work, because when you distribute the 2 through that, you end up with this. If I distribute the negative 2, I end up with that. So depends on what you want to look at. Both would work just fine. Okay, we do the same thing here for number 11. I have positive numbers 8 and 10. I have even numbers 8 and 10. So I can definitely factor out a 2. I see they're both negative, so I could factor out a negative 2. I also see they both have a c in them, so I can take a c out of that. So if I take a negative 2c out of here, what is 8 divided by 2? Well, 4. Okay, and I'm going to keep it positive, so when I multiply it together, I get a negative number. Here I want this to be negative, so I'm going to make this positive. What is half of 10? It's going to be 5. The c I've already factored out, but I have to include the a, and we're good there. Alright, that's a good start for today's homework. There are more for you to work on your own. Good luck with those, and see what you can come up with. Have a great day. Alright, let's look at the back side. Actually, let's look at the back side. These are set equal to each other. So on this side here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to distribute, and we're going to solve here, it looks like here. So we're going to solve these equations on the back side. These were just expressions, so this side we're going to solve. So we're going to distribute here, and we'll do 3 times 3c, which becomes 9c. 3 times 2 is 6, and we'll set that equal to negative 39. After we've distributed, now what I'm going to want to do is move the whole numbers to the other side, so we get the variable by itself. We want to isolate the variable. So I'll subtract 6 from both sides there. That becomes nothing, and I'm left with 9c on this side equals negative 39 minus 6. The signs are the same, so I'm going to find the sum, and I'm going to keep the sign the same. So negative 45. To get the c by itself, I divide both sides by 9. So c equals negative 45 divided by 9. Well, 45 divided by 9 is 5, and a negative divided by positive is a negative. So I have c equals negative 5. Alright, let's look at number 16. Number 16, I'm going to distribute. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10k. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and that equals negative 56. I'll subtract 4 from both sides, so that goes away. So negative 10k is equal to the sum of 56 and 4, which is negative 60. We'll divide both sides by negative k. So k equals 60 divided by 10 is 6. Negative by negative is a positive, so we just keep it there at k equals 6. Looking over at number 17, I can keep the negative 84 here, and then we distribute right here. Negative 4 times negative 4 is negative 16v. 4 times 3 is positive 12. Now we're going to move the whole number to the other side, so that goes away. The signs are the same, so I find the sum and keep the sign the same. So I have negative 96 equals negative 16v. Okay. Does 16 go into 96? I'm not really sure. Knowing this ends in a 6, I'm going to guess maybe 6 times. Let's try that out. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 more is 96. So yes, indeed, it goes in there 6 times. So if I divide both sides by negative 16, negative divided by negative is positive. 96 divided by 16 is positive 6 equals v. And there we are there. Let's move over to number 20. Distribute. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. Negative 5 times negative 3 is going to be a positive 15w equals negative 105. Let's add 15 to both sides. So now when I add, I need to find the difference. So the difference is just subtracting. 5 minus 5 is 0, 10 minus 1 is 9, but which one has the greater absolute value? The negative. So negative 90 equals 15w. We'll divide both sides by 15. W is going to be equal to something that's going to be definitely negative. How many 15s are in 90? Well, 15 times 2 is 30. So I know there's 2 and 30. And I have 30, 60, 90. So it's 2, 4, 6. I end up with negative 6 right there. Alright, number 21. Here we have a nice fraction number here. So the first thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to say, well, how many 5s are in 10? in our case here, there are 2, so I'm going to rewrite that as negative 2w. How many 5s are negative 15? There are 3, so write that as negative 3. So now I've reduced the 5 already, and I don't have to worry about the 5 anymore. I've factored it all the way through there. I divided everything by 5, because that's what that means, to get that there. Now I need to multiply the negative 1 through. So negative 1 times negative 2w is positive 2w. And negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3, and that equals 9. I can subtract by 3, subtract 3, oops, and this becomes 6, sorry, equals 2w. Divide both sides by 2, and w equals 3. Could you have done it a different way? You sure could have. You could have done negative 5 times negative 10w minus 15 equals 9, and you could have multiplied by the reciprocal, right? And so that cancels out negative, negative, and you'd have negative 10w minus 15 equals negative 45. I would add 15 to both sides, so I end up with negative 10w equals 45 minus 15 is negative 30. Divide both sides by negative 10, and w equals positive 3. So that works as well. And our last one here, indeed, we're going to go ahead and let's do it that way. Let's multiply both sides by positive 6, okay, to eliminate the fraction, and that 6 times 8 is 48 equals 18v plus 12. Subtract 12, subtract 12. So 36 equals 18v. Divide both sides by 18. And what do we have? 2 equals v. Alright, so there's a lot of your solutions there for your homework today. Hope that helps you out. That truly is it for today. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.